Hello. So my name's Tanya. I posted a video a long time ago, and I got a couple of comments recently. So I thought I would do an update. Somebody asked me how am I doing now, so I thought I'd come back and do an update. In my first video, I explained to you guys that I was living in my car and um, battling depression after losing my mom suddenly, divorcing around the same time, having to sell my house, losing a job. Did I mention losing a job that I really worked hard to get? Losing my job, and a whole bunch of other issues that all happened around the same period of time within like a 60 to 90 day period in 2023. And as a result, I spiraled into a depression, and just I started living in my car. So I just wanted to follow up with you guys. So I am a native of Florida, and prior to my mom's passing, I never lived outside of Florida. So when all of that happened in 2023, I ended up losing my apartment. I stopped working. I just really didn't care about anything. I didn't know what I was gonna do because I got my divorce that I wasn't expecting. Wasn't expecting a divorce at all. I thought that we were okay. But in hindsight, I could see the signs. But while in the moment, I didn't see any signs that a divorce was even an option. But that happened. So the divorce was a quick divorce. It was finalized on February 1st, and my mom developed an aneurysm suddenly out the blue. Otherwise was healthy but very stressed out woman. The only other thing she had was asthma, and stress, and she developed a large blockage, which they labeled as an aneurysm, which I think something else had something to do with that, but I can't discuss that here, or I won't discuss it here. But she developed a large aneurysm and passed away. So my divorce was finalized on February 1st, and my mom passed away on February 10th. So I'm gonna break up what happened in 2023 throughout a few videos, because I don't want to do videos that are too long. I want to, unless you want a long video, but I'm not gonna start out with long videos because I don't really know if that would if I could hold your interest or even get through the whole story in one sitting. But so my mom passed away on February 10th, and I just me having to sell my house that I loved my house. I finally got a house that could support my family, and I felt like it could be a home that my children came back to, and my grandchildren, whenever I had them, could come to. And I had to sell that house because of the divorce. Just so much happened in 2023. So I fell into a depression, and my depression shows up in a lot of different ways. And now that I'm out of it, I think I'm out of it, I could see how depressed I was. Like, I kind of was begging death to come. I was begging death to come. I wanted to be with my mom. And me and my mom's relationship, it was is an interesting story as well. So I have a lot of stories to tell. But anyways, so I couldn't bear to stay in my hometown without my mom, and having to figure out life without being married and without the security blanket that was my mom in my hometown was unbearable. So I left, and me and a friend were supposed to go to Dallas, Texas and start life again. And I didn't know that. So the friend that I went to Texas with is the sister of my best friend, who I wasn't aware that her sister had a son who was a teenager. So when we decided, now keep in mind I'm depressed. I'm not all the way there. Like, kind of lost my mind for a second. No, I lost my mind for like a year. I moved into this luxury apartment. It was $2,300 a month, which I could afford on the house that with the job that I had. But I ended up losing that job because I was depressed. I wasn't showing up to the job, so I lost that job, so I couldn't afford my apartment, and pretty much just stayed there until they evicted me. During that time, me and this friend, I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, we linked up and we was like, let's start over and let's go to Texas. And the funny thing is I always wanted to go to Texas. I wanted to go to Texas or Tennessee. So when she was already looking at Dallas, I was like, we can go together. You know what I'm saying? So I found this little rinky-dink job in in Dallas so that I could have some income. And once I got there, and I started doing Uber. And so what I didn't know about Uber is that it's different qualifications for different states. So when I got to Texas, I couldn't transport people because I wasn't a resident of Texas yet. So back to this the friend that I moved with, I didn't know that she had a teenage son who was autistic and that he was coming. I didn't know that until until like the week before we were supposed to move. So I was like, okay, all of my kids were grown. I hadn't had to live with a teenager for a few years because my youngest child at that time was 21. So I was just like, I don't really have the mental capacity to really deal with teenagers. And I was really trying to back out from going with her. And she was like, no, he won't be a problem, he's very independent, he's not studying us. So I ended up going with them, and we stayed Texas is very interesting. They won't let you get an apartment unless you're in the state, unless you're there. We were trying to go to an apartment while we were in Florida so I can make as much money as possible before I started my job, which I was going to be able to start my job for like a month from the time that we wanted to move there. So we ended up having to go to Texas, stay in an extended stay place. During that time, I'm living, with her and her son. Her son had some little aggressions, some little apprehensions towards me. And then one night he came onto me, and I was just like, this is uncomfortable. Like, I can't do this. She was all over him, but about his behavior. But when he came on to me, she kind of laughed about it, and that was a turn off. I didn't think that was funny. I thought that was not not a good thing at all. And so I just was like a little bit turned off, not very turned off from living with them. So I kind of like I backed out of it. So I was like, I could just, you know, people live in their cars now, so I'll just go into that. So this video, well, this is going into much longer. It's going into longer than I want it to be. I want this to be like a 10-minute video. So I'll put a pin into that right there. I backed out of moving in an apartment with the people that I intended to move in with when we were in Dallas, Texas. So I was in Dallas, Texas, living in my car, staying in Walmart parking lots. I did start the job, and I'll continue my story from that point. But currently, let's talk about now. So currently, I still live in my car. I've made the best of my situation, and I tried to renew, when it was time for me to renew my tag. I was going to become a resident of Texas, but it was so complicated that I ended up coming back to Florida, registering here. I'm still in Florida, and I'm working and saving up money for a whole different new adventure of my life, which I will tell you more about next time. Well, tell you more about eventually. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. Please like, subscribe, and share. I have a lot of stories to tell you about my adventure in life.